You're with Lauren Laverne, and lucky me, I'm with Philip Selway. Hello, Philip. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Lauren. Thanks for having us here.
So, listen, I mean, we know you obviously of long standing with Radiohead. We were only just a few minutes ago pretending it was 1997 and a great year for your band. But here you are, stepping out from behind the drum kit, not for the first time, but with a solo album of your own, Familial, out this week. How does it feel?
Actually, holding the final finished record in my hand felt very exciting. It seems something that was quite unlikely to happen at points, but to actually get the final thing, it was very exciting.
A significant moment.
Yeah, it was.
So, I mean, it's difficult, I think, particularly if you're a drummer in a band, it's difficult to sort of strike out and do your own thing. And as I said, you've got previous and that you've done tons of this kind of stuff. But why did you decide to actually make a record of your own, to go as far as making an album? Because that is a step further than just playing on someone else's record or collaborating or whatever.
Well, I suppose about 7 years ago, ideas for songs started to come through. And then 3 years ago, it seemed that, I had enough material. It was a collection of songs, really. And it didn't feel appropriate for Radiohead. It seemed very, personal to me. And it just felt like a very natural progression then to actually make the decision to say, right, I'm going to make this record. Don't know if I can sing, don't know if I can complete lyrics, but I'm going to make a record. And so that you kind of backfill from there, really, don't you?
I suppose as well, when you get to the kind of level of success that you've had with the band, it must be quite difficult to find things that are new challenges and that are sort of difficult. Do you know what I mean? Because
Right.
you know that people, whatever you do as Radiohead, and I'm sure it'll always be great, but you could release more or less anything you want, and a certain amount of people are always going to buy it because they love your band. So was it a sort of the chance to do something a bit scary in a way?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I've hit that tender midlife point, and you kind of end up doing those kind of things, don't you? If you've got a midlife crisis, best to come out in an album, I think.
A yellow sports car is next for you, Philip. That's what's going to happen. So, you said it didn't feel appropriate for Radiohead. How did you come to choose your collaborators on the record, and who have we got on there? Who's in the mix?
On the record, it was people that I met through working on the Seven Worlds Collide project, which Neil Finn put together in New Zealand.
Off Credit House, yeah.
So it's Lisa Germano and Sebastian Steinberg, and then Glenn Cochie and Pat Sansone from Wilco.
Right.
So, for your first album, it's a pretty good.
That's not a bad
Pretty
lineup,
good lineup, isn't it?
Not too shabby. And the record also, we talked about the title Familial, which, you said you didn't set out to make a record about family, but that's kind of how it's ended up in a way. What happened?
In some ways, yeah. I mean, it's definitely those elements are quite strong in there. But it's just after I sat down, after finishing the record, have the mastered copy and sat with it a couple of weeks. And just that point, trying to really understand what was going on in there. And I realised it was just all about those, those significant relationships for you, like family, be they family, colleagues, friends or whatever, and just how they feed into you, and hopefully you feed back into those as
And
well.
how are your families taking it? How do they kind of feel about you doing a record of your own, both your actual family and the rest of
I've been
Radiohead?
excommunicated now.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Get out.
You're no son of mine.
Greenwood hanging up, not answering the call.
No, it's been responded well to it.
Listen, so we talked about briefly about Seven Worlds Collide, the Seven Worlds Collide album that you made with Neil Finn and many others, which was it a charity project?
It was, yes. The second one was. It was done for Oxfam.
Yeah.
And so Neil invited lots of musicians and songwriters to go down to New Zealand Christmas of 2008 to write, record and perform in shows an album.
I read
in
that.
a couple of weeks.
Well, I read that was when you made your singing debut. Is that true?
It was, yes. I snuck in under the radar on that one because there are a lot of drummers there. And so I kind of kept on slipping further and further down the list for go-to drummer. And so I kind of found a little spot in the studio and sat down there and started playing my songs. I was writing one as well, and everybody picked up on it. And so going past.
And was it nerve-wracking? I mean, you said when you started making the album that you're here to play us and talk about, you said that you didn't know if, you weren't sure if you could sing, and you weren't, how did that feel the first time you did it?
Actually doing something in there and, going into the studio as Jim Scott producing it, and, he was telling us stories about working with Johnny Cash, and you think, oh my God. And, but then actually, it actually felt quite natural, really. It was, suppose I've spent a bit of time in the studio one way and another. But actually having that kind of I think it was the spirit of that whole project. Everybody was very supportive. Everybody was very generous spirited, and I had Katie Tunstall and Bick Runger there helping me out on the vocals. So, you know, it's kind of ideal situation really to do your debut vocal.
Absolutely. So listen, you know, you alluded to spending time in the studio. You know what I'm going to ask you next. Are you spending any time in the studio with your other project, that little band Radiohead? Where are things at with that at the moment?
On and off for the past year, and we're on a break at the moment. We get back together at the end of September.
Sure.
And just take stock of where we are. And we haven't finished anything yet, but it's coming along nicely.
Are you excited about getting back to it, getting back to making the next record?
Yeah, I mean, excited about what we've done.
Really?
It's it's you know, with each record we just try and move on, really, and hopefully we've done it with this one.
Okay, well, we wish you the best of luck with that. And you are taking a break to go out on the road and do a solo tour.
I am.
So
yeah.
where are you heading, and where are you most looking forward to? I guess you've been pretty much everywhere these days, Phil, by, you know, touring. But is it a different experience?
Yeah, it's a different view on all these venues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some festivals coming up. We're playing at Electric Picnic in Ireland this weekend, and then Bestival and End of the Road. 2 festivals which I haven't been to before, actually, so really looking forward to those. And then opening for Wilco as well for a couple of dates.
Cool.
And some of my own shows.
And that's at the Barrowlands for Wilco and Newcastle Academy as well, so that'll be...
Yeah.
Does that count for you as... I mean, because you're at the front, does it seem like a big venue? Because they're big venues, you know, Barrows is a huge venue, but I guess, you know, when you've toured with Radiohead, maybe it feels small. How does it feel, that size? Is that like... Does it feel intimate?
I'll have to let you know about that one in a couple of weeks, actually, Lauren.
Yeah, still enough to be nerve-wracking at this point.
On that front at the moment.
Good man, okay. Listen, the best of luck with the tour. I think you're going to ace it. It's going to be fine.
Thanks a lot.
Best of luck with that. And the album Familial is out now.